Good afternoon. It is March 2nd, 2026, and today we had um, what I would look at as like a gap fill day because we gapped down yesterday and we filled that gap, and so that's how it looks on the intraday chart, I believe that is. But if you look at the daily chart, you know, we've been bouncing around in this range, and what basically happened was we found support at the bottom of the range, and people kept buying. And you could probably at this point move support to this level here. I think you know I get putting it here, but here's where all the touches are at. So um, anyway, you can see when we were rallying and looking at the gap, you want to then look at what's the next target. And so I looked at the daily chart and I said, okay, I think the EMA was at 69.11 earlier, and now it's at 69.08. So that's exactly where it went. You can see it bounced right off the EMA there. None of this stuff is random. Uh, it all happens according to the chart. So uh, this is the weekly chart. I don't really like the way this looks. If you're trying to be bullish, um, but I mean we're still above the EMA, so this could definitely rocket higher, but just doesn't look very strong right now. And the monthly chart, what I believe is going to happen is we're going to go sideways uh, until we sideways to down until we bounce off of or until we get to the support in this trend channel. So anyway, here's the intraday chart. So this big move down that happened in the overnight was already an 88-point move. For some reason, I thought it was larger than that. So already you have the average daily bar size. And so, when it starts to go higher, you might think, hey, we could be going to fill that gap. And I think that would have made it like a 110-point day or something like that, 57, 16 points, so 104-point day, so nothing crazy. And so I think that's very reasonable to look to buy these rallies. So let's take a look. With that in perspective, you already have a leg up, and then we go sideways. So let's look at this range. Let's say it's right here. All right, so are there any good buys in here? Definitely not sells. You're in the middle of the daily range. So when it comes down here, it's finding support again. You could buy this, it doesn't turn out to be a good move, especially if you have a tight stop, which in the middle of the range, yeah, you could argue for scaling in if it comes lower, but this is kind of one that you probably want to, you know, get in and get out. So you could buy there. Then we make a lower low and we get a bounce, a higher low here. That's like a head and shoulders bottom. Um, I think that's a great trade. I mean, really, look, this is a good one too. But this is a strong bear micro channel. This is the first break higher. So what do we have? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. 9 bar bear micro channel. Not strong. I said it was strong. It's not necessarily strong. It's just a 9 bar bear micro channel. You're in the middle of the range, but we get a break and a move to a new low, and then you get a higher low, and that's probably the better one. And you can tell the computers like that one better too. So you get a nice tight bull channel, and we break out above these highs, and you get near the top of the daily range. So it's reasonable to expect some pullback, but you can see we find support at the EMA, and no gap below the EMA here, no gap below here. you finally do get a gap. So I mean, I think it's reasonable to buy this good signal bar. Is it reasonable to buy this one too? Yeah, I think so, just because there's support here. There's clearly support. Let me just drag this over. Price has bounced here 2 times already. So I think you can buy that. And what you're trying to do there is you're trying to hold until you get the gap filled. And so, that gets you a huge move. That gets you a 30-point move. And pretty quickly. Let's take a look at what time this was. This was at 7:01 a.m. And let's just say you get out here. That's a 7-minute trade that gets you, you know, let's call it 20 points or so. All right, then you get a bear channel here. It's probably like that. And we come up short of the bottom here. And that's kind of like a wedge bottom. You can see 1 push down, 2 push down, 3 push down, boom. So honestly, even though we're in the bear channel still here, at this point on the daily chart, it just looks like the bulls are trying to close the bar strong. And what I liked about this was I looked at the daily chart and I was like, you know what? I think the bull bar, the pullback in the bull trend will. I don't think this daily chart will close below. I just put like my crosshairs at this level. That's 68.53. And if you look, I mean, that's pretty much where this is at. It goes a little lower. So that's why I started buying here. Turns out to be a good move. I drew this box based on the daily chart. So I said that, I think if it goes to 68.37, that would look pretty low. That would look very low. And so I was like, I don't think this is going to turn into a bear bar. So you have to determine that for yourself and buy at the level that you're comfortable with. And that's what I did here. It paid off. You get this bear channel that breaks out into a stronger bear channel, and it pulls back again to that level. So again, I like buying that. It looks like the midline of this range that I drew, but this was kind of a not really a range. It was just a range based on stuff in my head, but it turned out to be a level of support, and it bounces. And I do think that this is reasonable to consider because you have a bear breakout of a bear channel, and it slows down here, and then you get a strong bull bar. So turns out to be a very good move. And I was hoping it would go straight up to 69.10 or about 69.08 or so at the EMA on the daily chart, but it slows down, so you got to take profits. That's what the computers were doing. Uh, and then you get, this is pretty much a range. And we break out to the high side, it fails. Break out to the low side, and then we bounce. And not really a whole lot of conviction on getting long here, especially since that looks like a bear channel. I'll enlarge my chart. Let me enlarge this. So you're in a bear channel here. It's just not ideal for going long, and there's no real good setup. So it does make a big strong move up to 69.10, which is the EMA on the daily chart. And then we get this bear channel that breaks out to the low side. And I like buying at the bottom of this bull move and going for a 50% correction. It comes just short of that here. So I do like buying in here when you get a break of the bear channel, sideways stuff, move to a new low, and just these two weak bear dojis. So I like that when you get the bull bar. Just don't hold too long. Make sure you take profits. We get a bear channel, bull breakout of the bear channel, and it just kind of chops up. Um, and we do eventually get that 50% correction. before it sold off into the end of the day. So my screen just went in and out a couple times. Hope that didn't affect the video. I'll be back tomorrow.